are back for a special edition of the 3P Miss Ladies podcast show.
Woo!
Finally, on cue. Okay, so we are doing this special episode, hot off the press, from the interview of all interviews. So I'm going to try and bring it down and make it look, stay focused. So this interview was done by Oprah, unfortunately showed to the American public before us UK.
That it relates to, y'all gotta stay up late to watch it, and some people were committed.
So Oprah did an exclusive interview where no topic was off limits with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
Now,
yes, it's like that.
I want to start off saying we have talked about the royals a couple of times on this podcast, and I've made several jokes about Meghan Markle. I think in the middle, I started to turn my opinion around, of her. But we're going to try and get a bit serious with this one because this is no joke. All the others were kind of laughy, jokey, and now we're going to keep it real, and we're going to talk about what our opinions about what we saw. So let's just start with Meghan. So Meghan first sat down solo with Oprah, and she, Oprah quizzed her quite well. I think I saw a lot of, she looked very sincere and very honest. What I had an issue with in terms of just her solo interview was where she says she never Googled Harry. She kind of saw the royals as like another like celebrities type thing. And there was just a bit of being a bit naive. And I was a little bit like, nah, I don't know if this is truth or not truth, but if it is truth, it's ridiculous. I'm just being honest with you. You didn't research, you didn't look and see how, you know what I mean? Like, because you would have been a bit more prepared. And I think if what she's saying, just in terms of, she didn't look up the royal family, she didn't look up Prince Harry, she didn't know much about the royals. She kind of thought it was kind of like a celeb type thing, and she lives in California, she sees celebs all the time. I thought that was a little bit naive. What do you guys think?
No, sorry if I can just take it. I got it from the perception of, before dating him. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just felt like she wasn't really into the royals, before being introduced and getting to know him personally. Do you know what I mean? She knew of the royal, but not something where she was like, oh, let me Google who's in it, or be about whatever. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. That's what I got from that.
No, she said
go on, Eve.
Sorry, she said when they were dating, she didn't Google him because he was giving her all the answers that she needed to know. Remember, she didn't know about curtsying. She thought she was just gonna kind of like go and see like her grandma. That's what she said. This is what she said.
But then she admitted her own naivety to that.
Yeah, but
I feel like, I don't know, because when I've been a funny one about Meghan from day one, and I heard the stuff before I watched the interview, and people were very much of like, she didn't know. And I was like, I know I don't follow Meghan's like life story like that, but I remember her saying she looked up to Princess Diana and things like that. And my thing is that you kind of had some sort of idea of what kind of family you were stepping into. Like, so that whole naivety thing, to a certain degree. But some of it, I'm like, you did know. And not to bring Piers Morgan into it just yet, but
oh God.
I think when them two started speaking, one of his main gripes with her apparently is that she used to also kind of quiz him and kind of be like, oh, you're British, what's the royals like, blah, blah, blah. And then when she got all of her info, apparently that's when she cut him off. I think they had like a bust up, but she also went to him to kind of find out information. And he was kind of like using her as a way to kind of like get into the royals, thinking that maybe if something does progress, he's going to go to the wedding and things like that. And obviously when she got what she needed and Harry now said, you're definitely the one or whatever, they severed ties. So I'm like, she was a bit naive, but the courtesy one, like, I'm just like, Meghan, like, I'm here for you, but some of it, I think, like, you're just chatting at your arse, sorry.
Okay. So that's just that first part. So I don't want everybody to think our opinion is just that. That's just the first part of it. I thought that was very naive of her. So, but okay. So now let's just move on. If we're already girls, let's just kind of move on to some of the comments, especially around race. Now, I want to dress this up because I think this leads directly into the whole being naive. Meghan doesn't look like myself and you girls. She doesn't. So when people of color, and I'm not talking, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. Meghan is what my people would call a passer. She could pass for white. I'm sorry, like, at the most, maybe, like Mediterranean, like maybe she's got, because her skin sometimes slightly looks olive, but I don't look at her and think, Black woman. That wouldn't automatically jump out. I'm not downplaying her blackness, but I'm just saying, just based on appearances, she looks, she doesn't look like me. She doesn't look full black. She doesn't. So people like us, when we step into a situation, especially where we're the minority, you kind of go with a little bit of armor, like, and you prepare yourself for certain things because you're the one who's a bit different. You're not like everybody else. So you come prepared, that you may be treated differently. I'm not trying to say that that's okay. I'm just stating that when I go into a situation when I'm in a room with all white people, I know I carry myself slightly differently to than if I was in a room where there's a lot of black people. I'm sorry, that is just fact. So I feel like, she was being very naive. Like I said, if what she said is true, she's been very naive. But somebody like me and somebody like you guys would have walked into the situation a little bit more apprehension. That's just what I'm trying to say. So now, if we move on to the comments, I think the most shocking for most people was where she said that there were concerns, where the baby wouldn't be given a title, wouldn't be given security, and that there was concerns about what skin tone the baby would come out as. So what do you guys think about that?
I think that's just blatantly out of order. It's sad, to be honest, and I wouldn't wish it on them or anybody else to have that sort of conversation for a brand new family to come into, and they'd be thinking things like that. To even say it out loud as well must have been a huge blow for them, and it's so disrespectful.
Yeah,
I feel like, and the royals should be ashamed. Like, all right, it might be they're saying it's one royal, but I feel like it's so out of order, and there's definitely racism going on there. Or if they want to say, oh, it's just a question, or it's just a this, it's not, just a nothing. Yeah, because that's rude and it's insulting. She's mixed race. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It shouldn't be a question of topic. It doesn't matter. You just want the baby to be healthy for you, and that's about it. So they need to really address that in some sort of way. I just feel for her, because that must have been like something else. I couldn't even imagine it from her point of view, and Harry's as well. Like, for someone to even ask him and he'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't know. What do you think, Snoop?
Yeah, I think that's bang out of order of anyone to say that, and especially when that will be a sensitive kind of topic or something to say. It's one thing if it's said amongst your own crew. Do you know what I mean? Oh, is your baby gonna be lighter? Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing like that. But it's another thing when it's said by someone of a different race to say that. It's like, okay, well, what do you mean? Where are you going with this? It's automatic. You're gonna think, well, what do you mean by that? Where are you going with it? So what if it is a darker one? You're not gonna like it as much as if it's more shaded towards your color. Do you know what I mean? And exactly like you said, what does it matter? What does it matter? But any tomfoolery who had done their maths will know that baby was not going to come out black anyway. I'm sorry to say, unless there's a gene interruption somewhere, and I do know that sometimes there's 1 in a million blip or whatever. Anyone who saw those two were going to say that, and I think the rest of the world was more concerned about, is the baby going to have ginger like Harry? Is it going to be like a like a beautiful black ginger red-headed baby. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing, as opposed to, you know, what tone or shade it's going to be. It doesn't really matter. And if that's something that's going on in there, in, you know, the immediate circle of families, you know, think it does bring up a lot of, you know, questions as to what else would you be concerned about. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? What else are you concerned about that you're not saying? You know?
I mean, my thing is, just like you said, Snoop, you look at those two, what do you think the baby's going to come out black like me? You know what I mean? Like the likelihood of it is no, because the child has more white, you know, in their DNA than, you know, black. So for me, just like you said, why would that need to be like I can't think. I know a lot on social media and in the news, they're trying to, but we don't know in what context. What does it matter?
What does it matter?
Why should
it doesn't matter.
A topic of conversation. I know what you mean, Snoop, but I don't have conversations with people and go, oh, what skin tone is that gonna go? Huh?
No, we don't. We really don't. I know we don't. We don't have that. But I'm saying but in the comfort zone of your own, you wouldn't read like that. I mean, nobody really does that. And, you know, whether it's a white person or Pakistani, an Asian person having kids, they don't go, oh, I wonder what shade it's. You just looking forward to seeing your baby. Do you know what I mean? It's not something else for you to put on the parent as to which tone would be more acceptable within your own family. Do you understand what I mean? I feel like that is so terrible of them to have said. And I know people on social media and other, you know, celebs are talking like, oh, you know, trying to water it down as though, oh, you know, it's just like asking, oh, you know, what color eye the baby's gonna have, what color this is gonna have. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. You know, and I disagree with that being said, because if it was concerning enough for the father, and if the father, you know, because they said, okay, it's Harry's conversation that he had, Mary, you know, and then pass it on to his wife. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? For the father to be upset enough, having received or gone through that conversation, to then go and spill it to his missus. Do you know what I mean? It was not just, oh, I wonder if the baby's going to have green eyes or do you know what I mean, sort of thing, you know? It upset him enough, it upset the parents enough to bring this up, like, what is this about?
Remember, it was a concern and there were several conversations.
This
wasn't a part.
Never just one.
This was, you know, and okay, so what if the baby has a you know, a hint of a darker skin tone? You've allowed this person into your family. Sorry, do you know what I mean? That's you've allowed this person into your family. You now accept whatever now comes following that, which is not 9 times out of 10 going to be a child. So I just, you know, I feel like, you know, just because they haven't had to deal with any of these racial, you know, like they've never had to deal with any of these, you know, like
uncomfortability, being in a hard place,
before, it doesn't stop being ignorant. Do you know what I mean? Now it's time to now educate yourself. You've now brought this person into your family. It's time for you to now educate yourselves and watch what you're, because you got TV. Okay, you got that big old palace. You got TV, so you know what the hell's going on in the world. And
now, did you? I just want to. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
No, go on. No, you go.
I just wanted to say, did you guys feel like this was then the reason why the baby did not receive the title as prince?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she tied that whole thing together. You know, she was like, he's not going to have this. He's not, because I was thinking, why not? Why isn't he? Why is he not going to? And then when it was concerns about, I thought, oh yeah, it all makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Why is he the only different one?
Huh? No, apparently they're saying that he's not really. Well, all that's coming out today, obviously, is the media breaking down everything she said, and they're saying that it's not really. They're saying it's not really his right to have that title on him, as he is the great grandson of the Queen. It goes on as far as the grandchild, not the. Do you know what I mean? Not the great.
What about all the other grandchildren?
So I'm just saying what they're saying. So now I don't know, because you know we don't know it that well. So, but they're saying now when Charles is king, then Archie and that will be entitled to that you know, His Royal Highness or the Prince. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? But yeah, but in this case, it's the Queen's choice. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing, as to whether or not Archie gets it, because it's not really protocol that he would get it unless his grandfather was on throne. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that's
but
what
the thing
that's
is,
what I'm reading. Yeah.
Will's kids have got prince and princess.
Again, the Queen chose it. The
Exactly.
Queen
So she
declared
chose
it
not to do it.
before. Hey, I wasn't there. I'm just telling you guys. So yes, the Queen could have chose that Archie, you know, Harry's children will be called princesses again. But again, they didn't put that into, whether they put into consideration or not, whether this whole skin tone thing was part of the the hesitation of doing so. You know, maybe if the baby had turned out brown and it'll be a brown prince walking around in, you know, Fresh Prince walking around the UK,
like in Bridgerton, they couldn't have it, could they?
Maybe that's what, you know, we don't really know, but that's what they're saying, that that's how it goes basically, you know. And I feel like what I got from that was that Meghan, it seemed like Meghan didn't really care whether he has that or not. She cared more about what that came with for her baby. Do you understand what I mean? Whether her baby was a prince or not was not, but the attachment of that is that if he is, then he would have security and, you know, all the other things that sort of like came with it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? And that's what I got from what she was saying, you know.
Got it.
You guys.
Yeah.
Okay, like let's, because obviously we still got quite a lot to cover. So let's now move on. Just we'll talk about social media and the response at the end. I think that's probably a better way to end it. So let's just talk a bit about, now Harry comes up and starts dropping some gems, like starts dropping some real stuff, you know, talking about how he stopped receiving phone calls from his dad. They cut him off financially. They cut off the security, you know. What did you guys think about that?
I was shocked. I was really shocked. And the fact that it was done like just like that, like he didn't have time to prepare or anything like that, that kind of shocked me, because that's the way it seemed. Like he just got word that, okay, we're gonna cut your security, you know, the security and whatever else. And I was just like, wow, you just get tossed like that. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing. And someone said on social media, like, it's so funny how Princess Diana, with all the wealth that the royal family has, Princess Diana still thought it was important for her to give her children, you know, like to, you know, do you know what I mean, to save money for her children with all the wealth that the royal family has. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing. I think it just goes to show that she must have known that, you know, being able to have your own, you know, and not just fully depend on them is a big thing. Do you understand what I mean? And she set up for her kids to be able to have that. Do you know what I mean? Have that choice. Because now, obviously, that's what he's now depended on in order to to be able to protect his family. Do you know what I'm saying, sort of thing? And I just feel like, wow, that's bloodline now being cut off. What is the excuse for that? Like he do you know what I mean? When we're talking about Prince, you know, when we talk about Archie and, you know, the lineage of princehood or whatever.
Yeah.
But now this is a prince and you guys are cutting him off.
Yeah.
What's the excuse for that?
Racism. Because they said that at the end of the day, they asked to step back like everybody else has done, and no one else has been treated the same way that he's been treated. And some of them have done some shabby stuff in the last how many years of being in the royal family, and they still get their land, their this, their that, and get to live in peace. So what else could it be? Because Harry's always, all right, let me not say he's always complied, because, you know, he's a partier. He used to be a partier. But, you know, all he said to you was that we're still going to do stuff. We're just going to take a step back from it. We're still going to be here and do as you say. We just want to take a little step back.
Yeah, we just want to be like other royals who have their own private life and doing whatever. And then when they're called by the Queen to come and represent, they come and do so. But then they would go back to their, and there is so many of them like that, because we don't really see them in the limelight and whatever. And I thought that it's not really too much to ask. I'm really grateful for this interview in the sense of, you know, having them speak their truth. having everything, because everyone's like, why now? Why when Prince Philip and the Queen's got so much worry about Prince Philip is in hospital and stuff? I'm like, they didn't see that coming. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm sure he would not wish ill for his wife, but that's not the fact. Just because you know, maybe certain stuff is happening doesn't mean that important stuff should not be brought up. Do you understand what I mean, kind of thing? If they brought this up, because again, people are saying that because you know, they could have just gone on and keep living their private life. No one would really care or whatever. But the fact is, what's been written about me is going to affect my future if I don't correct it. And I feel like that's what they saw and what they wanted to amend. Now, if they start bringing all this up, maybe 10 years down the line, or when Prince Philip is feeling much better, as people will like it, again, people are still going to say, what's the point? You've moved on over 10 years. You know, why are you bringing this up? Do you understand me? So when does my truth really get heard? When does my side really get heard? Do you get what I'm saying, kind of thing? And that's why I'm like, I'm really happy that they've done it, you know, because we were led to believe certain things that it's not actually, probably not actually 100%, you know, especially with the girls, you know, like Kate and sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
Especially like with the Kate and, you know, the bitchy rivalry between Kate and Meghan. You know, and it was very amazing. It was very shocking to see that it's actually the reverse. You know, Kate made her cry on her day.
Yeah.
You know, but the tabloids that made it look like she was the bridezilla, making vulnerable Kate cry and whatever in the situation. Do you understand what I mean? Sorry, go ahead. Anyone else?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's also, I think people are saying, why now? I think Meghan said it more or less at the beginning, like not in a bad way, but we've all been through a pandemic, so we kind of understand now what it's like to be locked in and unable to do certain things. And she's gone from being, like she said, working, being independent for how many different years, to now getting all of that taken away from her. And I think now as well is where she's more safer in her pregnancy, because she had a miscarriage before, so she probably thought, I couldn't have done this really early in my pregnancy. I'm a bit safer now. We're a bit more stable now as well. We're living at Tyler Perry's house and all of this kind of stuff. Things were up in the air. And it's like, if not now, when?
Yeah. And I'm sure they would want to just put it down and just move on.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
as opposed to ringing it up later, sort of thing. But I don't think anyone would be happy whether it's now or late. There'll still be why now conversation going on about it. So
and I think it ties into her whole mental health as well, like trying to deal with things. And obviously speaking on it is giving her more oomph to know that she's not alone. Giving her, you know, more confidence back in herself as well. Do you know what I mean? She's about to have another child. So again, she probably just wants to release a lot of this off her shoulders and off Harry's. Because again, it's just been those two now. And she's probably thinking, I can't keep going to him. It's draining for him as well. He's stuck in the middle. I want to speak my truth and people to know as well. Sorry, if gone.
Okay. So let's just to quickly wrap up on that, because we still got a bit to cover. But I want to just go back to Harry. I've got mad respect for Harry, because Harry has basically given up his life. This is all he's known. And I've said this before, if they don't work out, where does he go? You know, this is tough. You know, you got to understand, like, he's walked away, and people might go, oh, boo-hoo. No, this is his family. It doesn't matter if it's the royal family. This is his family. And clearly he's estranged from them now. Like, so it's them two against, you know, the world, basically, you know, and I've got mad respect for him, but I am sad because I really want him and his brother, especially makeup, you know, the oldies, you know, whatever, you know, like the old schools, you know what I mean, like whatever. Him and his brother, and I literally think his brother's upset because it's like, we were in this together, we were in this bubble or whatever together, and now you've broken the mold. You know, I need you. That's what I feel like it is. It's like, I feel like he feels like he's just lost his brother, because like, I need you in this and you get to walk away and I don't. You know, like that type of thing. So it's sad, and I hope they work it out. But you know,
I think time will heal that.
Yeah,
like Harry said, I think time will heal that. These two have mad love for each other. We've never heard anything really bad until, you know, a girl got involved. You know what I mean, sort of thing. It's the same thing, a little bit of a rift when Kate got involved, but then they patched things. You know, they patched things up with that. I think time will heal, and you know, that kind of thing. But I also believe that you can't always just go with the flow all the time, especially when it makes you uncomfortable or when it's not right for you. Do you understand what I mean, sort of thing? So just like you, I have mad respect for him for taking his family out of what he saw as a toxic situation.
Yeah,
do you get what I'm saying?
Meghan, the whole situation, going, my mum was on this road by herself. I don't want to now had to be a repeat. And just like, I mean, me, Snoop, spoke last night, and he's just doing what he feels is the best thing, and no one was there protecting his mother, so he needs to now protect his family,
and himself.
Yeah, and doing what he thinks is best. So I got mad respect for it. I mean, some people have said, they're like, oh, boo-hoo, Harry. Oh, you're gonna go with your mum's inheritance, which I looked up, apparently it's 15 million. Oh, boo-hoo, how can you survive? Look, listen.
They need protection though, innit?
Yeah,
Security is costing money.
Oh, you want to leave? Pay for your own protection. Excuse me, that is expensive. Okay, it's not cheap. It's not just they're looking after him. They're looking after his whole family, looking after his grounds, protecting all sorts of things. That stuff is expensive, and he is a prince. What do you think? He can just go into Walmart or one is and go, can I help? He
was born into this. He didn't marry into this as she did. He was born into it. Knew no other, no whatever. My family's in this. I was born into this. So yes, he does deserve the protection and whatever. And for you guys to just leave him exposed like that, it's not right. It's not right. But again, for you to make it difficult for his own, do you know what I mean? His own family to breathe, and his wife is, screaming out for help and support, and protocol. Oh, you can't because you're so much in the media, and we need to water it down right now. Do you know what I mean? What kind of nonsense is that? And I know people are saying, really, with you couldn't have got any help for your mental health sort of thing like that. And I'm just thinking, yes, because again, in that situation, who do you trust? If you go and speak to so and so, especially remember, she's not the one who's going to call, Dr. so and so to come. She how many doctors or how many whatever does she know here? Do you know what I mean? Psychologists, whatever does she know here? Whereas, whereas obviously someone's got to tell her, who we called or who's the right person. Do you know what I mean? In terms of privacy and in terms of things won't get out there. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. And I just feel like she's crying out for you for help. He's saying, please help my wife. None of you are like taking it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, really, until the girl cuts herself or whatever, won't that be a bigger issue for you guys to deal with than to just get the help you need?
Yeah, sorry, Snoop.
I'm sorry.
The same thing happened to his mum, though. At the end of the day, she went through similar issues where she had mental illness as well.
She did.
And she didn't really have any help until, she I think she hurt herself or whatever she did at that time, and that's when they finally tried to get
eating
her
disorder
help.
as well.
That was it. And also mental issues. And I think Meghan, with her, of course they're going to say no because they don't really want her there. So why would they even help her? They have to remember this as well. The media's also made it very clear that she's like the black sheep. She's the one turning Harry against the family. So she's now saying she's got an issue, which again she doesn't want to tell everyone about. They're not going to be all like, oh, come on, Meghan, we're going to comfort you. They're going to be like, okay, finally, this is the way to get her out. Sorry to say, but they're not for her. So why would she ever go to them?
Right. So let's now move on to social media and media, period. Obviously, everyone is on the front page of every reputable news, well, if you can call it reputable, every reputable newspaper. Everyone's talking about it, every TV show, all the news channels, they're all talking about it. But the king of chatting about this, Piers Morgan, the one who is obsessed, Meghan Markle, the one who has pictures of her in his bathroom, in his bedroom, in his kitchen.
Oh, no, man.
I'm just telling you like it is, guys, okay?
Clearly she's been in there.
I have, and I was scared and I ran away.
She was the one snooping around.
Guys, he even called me Meghan. He even called my phone and said Meghan. I was like, huh? Excuse me?
Oh my gosh.
So, guys, what have you guys heard?
Well, yesterday, when Monday, so obviously the Americans saw it first, and I guess Piers was one of the ones who saw it also.
Yeah, they had.
So
I'm sorry, they rage-ate the whole situation, as in they hit it first. Sorry, carry on.
So obviously he's on Good Morning Britain, and he was just, I mean, like if this guy could breathe out venom or fire, that's what it felt like. He was so defensive over the royals and everything. Like, what she's saying, I'm sorry, it's not true. What could that's a bunch of rubbish? How dare you, speak about the Queen in that manner? This and that. Do you know what I mean? To the point where those of us who hadn't seen it would have thought, oh, did she diss out the Queen? And obviously, it's the contrary to how he made it seem like. Do you know what I mean? Oh, this kind of, how dare you say the royal family is racist or whatever. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, why not? If there's racism in it, then call it out and let's address it and sort it out, that that is removed. Do you understand what I mean, sort of thing? And but he was so beyond defensive over it. I was just like, boy, is this your bloodline? Do you get what I mean, sort of thing? Because like even the people that he was interviewing, the people that he brought on, sort of thing, he was having, I think there was a Dr. Shola or something like that. He was having a back and forth with her to the point where the woman had to be like, look, I'm going to talk. You can't talk with me. And I think that Piers is so used to the Good Morning Britain being his show where he can just say whatever he wants and people just have to take it. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? That, when it happened to him today, that one of his own colleagues, which he invited to come and speak about, the race aspect, called him out on his behavior and how he's using the platform. Piers walked out.
Yeah.
Piers, like a baby, did not want to hear the criticism and walked out. Do you know what I mean? But it's okay for you to express yourself. This is again what I'm saying. Like sometimes some people don't realize that you are at a privilege, whether skin or position, to be able to just say whatever you want. But the moment someone of the opposite tries to get their view across, some of y'all can't take it.
Yeah.
Some of you, the Piers was a good example of that. The moment we try to clear up what we feel, or whatever, some of y'all can't take it. It's like, oh, come on, the race card again. Oh, come on. Because it's not affecting you.
Yeah.
Because it's not affecting you. It's not disturbing you. It's not, hindering you from getting promoted or doing your job or doing whatever. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to fight that struggle every day, And so, and Alex was just there because Alex is the
weatherman.
The weatherman. Alex was just pointing out something that that affects him and trying to let you see it, and you couldn't. You were just like, he was just trying to say, I think that because the way you feel towards Meghan is inhibiting you from actually, seeing that what she's actually saying. Do you know what I mean? The issue that she's actually bringing up.
And he couldn't take my girlfriend. Oh.
He could not take it. I don't think Alex, in the whole thing, I don't think Alex was, putting, like being too hard on him or whatever. It was just like, look, man, take a step back. And just look 100%. At what this girl is saying.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Morgan, if just like you said, he was all hot and bothered, like he's clearly on the royals payroll, right? And is thinking, oh my God, my money's in jeopardy, right? Now, the fact of the matter is, if you're somebody that brings it, like the way and in the fashion and in the tone that he does, you have to be able to take it. Doesn't
that's right.
You're sitting there saying you're taking it personal, like it's your family she spoke about. Bitch, it ain't your family. And for me, I can't stand it when people start saying, oh, but it's just not true. Are you in that house? Do you know what I mean? Unless it's a member, someone who's in that family, you now are one of the people. You're just like the rest of us. You can't say what's true and what's not. You can give your opinion. You I don't think that's true. But you can't turn around and go, oh, that ain't true.
I say it's not true.
My friend, are you sleeping with the Queen?
And I like to, let me just.
Sorry, just what I put that standard out there.
And just to clarify what you're saying as well. Remember he said that he didn't know her that well. They were only friends for a short period. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. So I don't think you knew her well enough to know when she's lying or when she's fine. Do you know what I mean? Kind of thing. So for him to say that, I was just like, you're too passionate about like you knew this girl, like you grew up with her or something like that. You yourself just said you did not know her for that long. Do you know what I mean? So how can you discredit what she's saying?
Exactly. I just, obviously everyone's going to have their opinion, and unfortunately, and guys, this is a note, dear white people. This topic, especially when we talk about race, is a topic. Unless you're on the black side, you'll never win. And I don't even think is a topic that you should even try to defend, because you don't know what it's like to live in our shoes. Sorry, facts. You don't. You come from a privileged place, and even Harry himself said it. He didn't even understand all of that stuff.
No, yeah.
You know,
until he was in our shoes. Yes.
Until you're in that you can't. So you're obviously at a for lack of a better word, at a disadvantage, even though you have the advantage, if you know what I mean. So it's a weird, so sometimes, just like Alex said, sometimes you've got to be comfortable with speaking about the uncomfortable, because even I get uncomfortable to white people sometimes, because I'm like, I'm coming from a place where you can never understand. You can never, you can never.
Yeah.
So my thing is, don't ever try to defend it, because you can't.
Exactly.
You don't. It just seems like you're defending your privilege. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like, oh, if you kind of acknowledge it, oh, you're defending your privilege. No, bitch. You have your privilege. Unfortunately for us, for the long time, for the foreseeable, you'll always have your, privilege. So don't talk, don't try to tell us what we should recognize as racism and what we shouldn't, what we should take offense to and what we should. I really hate.
We shouldn't.
Oh, come on, they're playing that card again. Are you insane? Don't tell us what. Oh, that's just, don't be upset about that. Oh, come on, you're taking that too far. No, bitch. No. Sorry, I just had to get that part out.
Nick, do you have anything to say before I say something else regarding that? I thought that another great thing that was brought up was how the royal family runs. The institution, the firm. We kept hearing that a lot, which I never really knew that's how it went. Do you know what I mean? Like there's the man running things under the queen or for the queen, and obviously that's what ties the media as well, sort of thing. Because Harry, two things I want to bring up about that is that they play accordingly, like with the media as well, so that they can get the good side, and not get too much negative press from the media as well. So they're careful about what they put out there and what is, do you know what I mean, kind of thing. I think you guys get what I'm trying to say, sorry. And I think the other thing I wanted to point up about was the fact that, with the whole institution thing, is that Buckingham Palace has to really respond to this racism thing, because it's going to bleed down to other small institutions. Do you know what I mean? That people are under, how they deal with this. Because just like you're saying, it's always the angry Black person, or the angry Black, overly sensitive Black person, but you don't know how many times people bite their lips. Do you know what I mean? And don't say, oh, how many times that person has been seeing the unfairness that's going on, and people are not conscious of, or are conscious of, but just don't care about. Do you know what I mean? And you constantly have to fight for that respect, or that position, or something to get across. You know what I mean? Imagine if it was a Black person reporting somebody at work. The way it would be taken is totally different, I'm sorry to say, of how a white person reporting somebody at work. The two will be dealt with totally differently, and we've seen that over and over and over again. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? Because again, if someone was to sue a company or whatever, first you've got to think to yourself, now, how many people representing me would there be in that courtroom that would actually understand what I'm saying and what I'm feeling? Do you understand what I mean? As opposed to how many white person has to think about that when they want to take things forward or take matters forward? Do you know what I mean? As opposed to the Blacks who have to think about, will they believe me? Will I be seen in a negative light? Will this cost my job? Those are the things that we have to worry about, that you don't have to as a white person. Do you know what I mean? You can make your allegation, you can say whatever you want and go home and sleep most of the time. But us, it's more on us. Do you know what I mean? Sort of thing. And then when you try and take it further, you can be shut down at the highest place or the minimal place, do you know, sort of thing like that. And I feel like it's not, don't say that it's oh, you're just pulling a race card, because a lot of times we don't speak up. And when somebody finally speaks up about something and you just shut it down like, nah, it ain't. Again, that's Meghan Markle, someone high up within the royal family saying that, and people shutting that down. What about the little people beneath? And I'm not saying, in that, but I'm just saying, what about the person in a smaller, the average person who wants to speak their truth, that I'm being treated like this? How much more, if you guys are treating Meghan like this, for speaking her truth, how much more would the average person feel silenced? Like, see, this is why I don't talk. This is why I don't say nothing. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. I want to bring up a point because I want to speak a little bit from personal experience. So obviously you guys know in 2005, my brother Victor went on TV show, real popular TV show at the time, Big Brother. Now, I'm only saying this because I started then relating some of what me and my family experienced to some of the things, and tried to relate to Meghan. And it was very scary how, like the similarities. So, my brother went on this TV show, and I'm going to try and keep this quick, went on this TV show, didn't consult anybody, went on this TV show, and was one of the only Black people in the show, right? So at first we're like, oh, yeah, this is great. Then news report, a newspaper, front page, News of the World, biggest newspaper, right, in Britain. News of the World comes out, front page, my brother's there with a report saying that he's a drug dealer. He's a confirmed drug dealer. He's been speaking about it in the house about how he sells drugs. Now, I don't know what idiot's going to go on to national TV and say that they sell drugs for a living. Anyway, that was front page, guys. We had family from Nigeria. We had family who've known us, people who've known us for years, asking us if our brother's a drug dealer and saying we need to speak to him. And, people were looking at me funny, treating me funny. Some of my family members were chased to work through paparazzi. Some of paparazzi spoke to my family's work colleagues. And think, guys, that's a small space of time. That was a small part of my brother's life. And that was only over a couple of months. And the way the media hounded my family, the media, used the fact that my brother was Black and, created a whole narrative. Even on the show, were trying to paint my brother at one point as a bad guy. Some of the storylines that I would see, or the headlines I would see in the newspaper, I was like, what? They already targeted him as, this is the picture we're going to paint of this Black guy. Eventually, News of the World issued an apology on the second page, the page that nobody cares about. But this guy's got a family. He's got a family to look after and to feed. Are you thinking about, what about him trying to get a job after this? They don't think about those things. And my brother doesn't really talk about it that much, but he suffered with mental health issues, which I think is the biggest issue that's going to come out of this whole thing in terms of this interview. My brother at one point didn't tell anyone, but threw his phone away. My mum told me. He was telling people he lost his phone. My mum was like, no, I saw him throw it in the bin. She was like, his phone was constantly ringing. People saying nice things, people saying negative things, but it just got too much. And my brother is somebody that I classify as very mentally strong.
Strong, yeah.
So to know that that's happened to him, and this is just reality TV. This is not, royal family status. So I can only imagine the mental turmoil that Meghan's going through. And then to know that her bootleg family, I'm sorry, like, that sister, that sister of her, who, I don't know if you saw, there were other clips from the interview, as you can imagine, that didn't make the final cut. Yeah. And she was asked about her sister, and she goes, I don't know her. The girl didn't even go by the name Markle, but the minute I now started dating Harry, she changes her name back to Markle. She is one of the firstest motherfuckers I've ever known. Wow. Every second, story that. I can't imagine having that. And then you're
already don't interview her dad today.
I don't believe media are
starting again.
Yeah, I don't believe they're racist. I don't. I was like, okay.
How much do they pay you to say that?
Yeah, how much money are they paying you to, to now say this? Really? Like, it just boggles the mind. It really boggles the mind of all the nonsense, that goes on. And I just think, and I always use up know me, I always liken it to this. When we're living in the Matrix, like, the royal family have their own matrix, the royal matrix, and Mr. Smith, the AKA the firm, is there pulling the strings, you know, while the rest of the royal family are puppets, basically. And now, you know, Harry is Neo, ginger hair, you know, and it's just, guys, the whole thing is just crazy.
I'm just happy that they got each other. I'm just happy that throughout this, on your truth, and you know, and it's, to me, you know, whether some of it's being shared, you know, colored to look at something or not, which I didn't get the vibe of watching the thing. Do you know what I'm saying? Kind of watching the interview, but own your truth. You spoke your truth now. The palace has a chance to respond, and we will see how much of a response it is, whether it's all going to be watered down, private, you know, kind of thing, like they're going to deal with it privately. And I feel like it's not really good enough. It's not really good enough in my shoes. But whatever they come out with, you said your piece, move on. Exactly. You know what I'm saying, kind of thing. Yeah. Move on. Be happy with your chickens and your little boy and little girl coming, you know, kind of thing. Move on from that and take that and breathe and just go on. Because I'm just happy that they have each other, like seeing the unity between them. You can see there's a team, there are a team, do you know what I mean? And they're there for each other, and I hope it lasts. I'm going to continue to pray that it lasts between them, you know, because Harry needs her as much as, you know, anything at the moment. Do you get what I'm saying, kind of thing? But I'm glad that I didn't feel like where it was like, oh, Meghan's the one bleeding all of this, and Meghan's I didn't really get that vibe, because just like most people, I wanted to see what Harry had to say, because we all know how Harry talks, we all know his characteristics, you know, kind of thing like that. And I didn't get the vibe that he was being led by her all the way. Do you understand what I mean, sort of thing?
What they got to gain from this? This is the thing. What they got to gain from it? Like, and I just want to say the firm and the royal family are working on this podcast, because do you know how many times you've had audio issues, Snoop? Because they want to silence you too, you know, and say, this girl's talking too much. Like, we need to release our own statement about this podcast episode. Oh gosh, it was just a lot. They've said their piece now, you know, and I know if it was me, I wouldn't care. I've said my business, mic drop. And whatever you guys say or believe that it is whatever. But I wanted my chance to say my side of the story. Whether you take that, at the end of the day, you're not living in, you never lived in the palace. You never lived with these people. So you can make your own, you know, assumptions. But this is my truth. Take it.
But it does us all to be a bit more careful what we're reading about what we're reading. Do you know what I mean, sort of thing? You know, it was like she was at the Royal Albert Hall crying, just, you know, having said whatever she said to her husband, then having to go to an engagement and crying through the whole thing. And I just think it's so much truth in that. A lot of times we do not know what's going on in someone's personal life, even though they're just coming out there bringing up a smile. Do you know what I mean? We need to be careful of how we're judging.
I've realised that words have power. We need to be careful about. So Meghan, this is my personal apology to you. I'm sorry if I said things like straight out of Compton and critical and stuff, and you know, and I'm laughing. I know it was all in jest and XYZ, but that don't condone them treating you, you know, like it doesn't, any of those things, whether you're fresh out of Compton, whatever, it doesn't condone their treatment of you. It really doesn't. And I've been to Crenshaw and I've been to Compton, so you know, I feel bad for her. No matter what, you're chased out of an institution. It shouldn't be that way. But as long as your life is better, as long as your mental health and your family, you know, and you feel safe now, that's all that counts.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Okay, Snoop, Nick, any last words before we?
No, because I don't think this will ever go away. It's something we're going to always be talking about. So we'll probably hear another snippet of it. So I'll save that for when I get feedback from Buckingham Palace and whatever else Piers Morgan wants to say, if it heats me up in that direction. Yeah.
Nick?
No. Yeah, we just wait till Buckingham Palace release their statement. Now.
Definitely have some words, you know, to say about that statement. You know, or I think bottom line is be kind to each other. Be kind to, and we are equal, even though we're a long way away from seeing that we're, you know, like being seen for everybody, that, and you know, that we're equal, and we shall overcome. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, guys, you don't know the usuals. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Podbean, YouTube, Facebook. You can email us at freepms.ladies@gmail.com. I'm your girl, Queen P.
I'm Snoop.
I'm Nick.
Goodbye, people.